The SPY has given us not only one, but now two closings below the 9-day moving average and the 5-day, but today we were able to close almost right on top of it. So are we going to save ourselves right now, or are we going to make a strong base before doing that? And that's something that we're going to talk about as we get into some technical analysis today. We're going to update you with some daily expected moves for the SPY and the Qs, and then we're going to go look at some other charts because there's a lot to be paying attention to. Let's get into it. It's always good to remind ourselves that this daily signal is here. And so if this is confirming down on the MACD, and we are confirming down in the price action and down on the RSI, which you've already seen that kind of confirmation, and this isn't going to be able to save itself very quickly, well, then we need to be taking this very seriously. So it's good to point out that there is still divergence lurking over your head here for the SPY on the MACD and RSI at the same time. Now, we don't want that to overly scare us because we can see if those things are proving in the smaller time frames, because if this 2-hour is able to curl up, it is going to be a very easy way for this to possibly even go retest these areas and then end up to the top side weekly expected move. So really, we're just waiting for the SPY to cross up. The Qs already have, but we've noticed that the SPY has had some trouble following those throughout the last few uptrend moves. So we're paying attention to this right now and saying, hey, if this wants to get bullish right away, then the 2-hour needs to cross up into positive territory, take back that 5 instead of resting right on it. Hey, take it back, get up to these levels, see that consolidation and break through the previous resistance. That would be the overall bullish thing. For the time being, though, we could see a stronger base built in this. This does not look like a strong base, in my opinion, at this moment. It almost looks like we're trickling up and people are getting sucked in, and we haven't even taken back the 5. So a downside move is something that I would lean towards at this moment, and we can pay attention to daily expected moves. As we get up towards the 5, we will pay attention if support comes in at these moves. So 606.29 to the upside and 597.27 to the downside. So this means, hey, we can go fish for a higher low, but if this wants to, if it really wants to, we can test those lower levels and make a divergence here. If this diverges, right, we're going to talk about this, is how you would really make another very fake out but strong base, right? This is how that would overall be created. If you really zoom out, you can see how you're potentially even holding the points of divergence from these lows, but you do have these moments in here. So we're not really wanting that. We want to see one right now, and that would be fantastic. The other thing to say about this divergence is if this ends up in the downward direction and the daily chart has actually crossed down, we don't see those divergences curling back up, right? Those things do not confirm, then this could get ugly pretty quick. So we got to be on our guard and see if this is going to be a strong base. And we can really see that from the SPY with the 30 minutes showing more negative than the Qs. Now the Qs at this moment are saying that some kind of higher low is the more probable thing for the Qs, whether that just moves sideways, rides the 5 for a little bit, or even sees some positivity right now and gets that pullback later on. You're not overbought by any means. So there's nothing that suggests that the Qs should be experiencing like weakness right now at this very second. It's more something that needs to be proven with some more price action. But if you do curl down here, I really think you want to make this a strong base in some way, whether that is more positivity and a bigger pullback or just a brief pullback right now on the 30 minute. I think both of those things would be good, and the SPY could follow making a strong base over there. Now the reason that this is different and why we might be looking closer towards 529.69, that's right, the daily upside move, 529.69 to the upside, 519.25 to the downside for the Qs. The reason I would just be looking at this is 2-hour charts are bigger than 30-minute charts, and the 30-minute chart is still positive. The 2-hour chart is still positive. Where are we pointing directly to? Hey, right there. So the charts technically are telling you that 529.69, aka these levels up in here, are what we would be testing. This would mean, hey, this would potentially be a higher low actually from this point. You did test the lows, but you didn't make a new one here. So we could see this as another move forward, and we'll see what happens with it going forward and pay attention to our risk. And this is pretty blatant to see, right? That 2-hour move that could extend here is actually very visible from Apple. Apple showing us it can take back the 5 heading up to these levels, and we were talking about this head and shoulders that could set up. Now we did see some funky stuff with the earnings, and we did see that sell off, but what overall is it right now? Well, it's teetering on the edge of going into a negative trend, but we never saw those reversal signals really at these highs to really suggest that this should be some kind of absolute destruction of Apple. If anything, it was telling us lean towards a higher low, and it looks like Apple is trying to do that right now. If this is going to cross up, that would mean, hey, this is potentially a higher low, and you're going to take out these levels and maybe even reach up towards 250, a great area to reach up towards. Now, the other thing is, if this is going to be a little complex, I mean, we look at that MACD, we look how we're below the 5-day moving average, and we're going, hey, if this wants to show itself as a strong base in some way, maybe that's in the form of a divergence to really fake people out, and then it actually turns back up into positive territory. But once again, you have to see those things confirm, right? You want to see that divergence here. That would be a nice setup for a trade. Divergence on the RSI at the same time, even better. But you have to make sure those things are confirming in this environment. There's plenty of rip around kind of moves happening right now. So don't allow yourself to get tricked. Be a little bit patient, and it will reward yourself for it. Almost the same thing could be said about Tesla, right? Tesla might need to make a strong 30-minute base to turn up. Now, we were talking about Tesla very seriously when it breaks this, right? We see the head and shoulders kind of slanted there, but we see it. And now this could be a retest, and this could just be bad. But why is this 2-hour divergence really showing its head? So if we're able to make this a strong base and then we curl up that 2-hour without violating divergence, I think that would be a great thing for Tesla. The reason that we're really looking for those 2-hour divergences as well, and why we're paying attention to it, is because the daily chart is overall saying, like, I don't really have divergence. I don't really have like a good flowing move to make it like, yes, that is a definite lower high. We can see it in the price action, but I really I'm very hesitant to say like, oh, this is all over for Tesla, when it looks like it's just reverting back down and trying to find its wiggle room, and then it's creating reversal signals. And if the daily just crosses up here, then that would say that this could go test all kinds of levels up here for Tesla. I think weekly expected moves, which if you want to join the Patreon to get weekly expected moves for Tesla, would be great things to utilize if we see another upward move. Amazon, starting to get a little bit more worried about Amazon. Still, the daily divergence is looming. So it's very interesting, right? We look over at Tesla, and doesn't have earnings, but Amazon does. But we look over at Tesla and we see, oh, this could be another uptrend move. But then we kind of click over to Amazon next, and it's like, okay, but that has a divergence there. And then we're going to go look at Nvidia, which says, oh yeah, but that's making a divergence to go up. So you're getting mixed things across the board. But if, you know, these positive stocks can stay positive, and then the ones that have fallen can start to build up, we'll see the SPY and the Qs go up. But if the opposite happens, you're going to see the SPY and the Qs go down. So that would mean, is Amazon right and Nvidia is going to fail some signals or something like that when everything is going to fall? Or are we just going to keep moving sideways as everything kind of works themselves out of these overbought conditions and works out these divergences? That would be super interesting, but I would be very aware of this for Amazon. And the reason that I'd be aware of it is because you're making multiple points of 2-hour divergence. And then you look at this and you're going, okay, the post market, but we have this E here, okay? So everything I'm talking about with Amazon, when it comes to the shorter time frames, bigger time frames, you can pay attention a little more, but on the shorter ones, like a 2-hour, I see 2-hour triple divergence. It's super obvious, and it's very, very obvious, almost too obvious. Like, this would be too good of a trade setup for an easy short. So am I thinking that this is going to be an easy trade? No. And why? Because of the E that's on your screen. I think that you're going to start to get ripped around over the next couple of days by Amazon. And this is overall going to be a 50-50 flip when it gets there. But it looks like we could see a 2-hour pullback or even a daily pullback soon, according to the signals at this moment for Amazon. See, and then we look from Amazon to Nvidia and we see 2-hour divergence that could curl up a daily chart. So you're like, Amazon's way up here, but Nvidia's down here with reversal signals. Okay, Tesla's down with reversal signals to maybe head up, right? But Meta looks like it really needs to drop off. So you just have mixed things going on, and it could mean maybe the semiconductors are going to perform well if these things are proving, and they are. So you have the divergence confirmed, So now we have to see, can you take back the daily? Can you break through these levels? Can you break through all of the resistances that truly are here for Nvidia on the way up? Because there's a bunch of them. So if this 2-hour crosses up, you're seeing if this daily can join in. Now, the thing about this daily is you want to really watch for rejections, because that is the positioning of the MACD right now. There's no divergence or like high or low like the last time over here, right? So this time, this would be the first go, which means it's going to have to make most likely a higher low or some kind of divergence to really build this back up. And really, this looks like to me, you have to be paying attention to a lower high at this moment for Nvidia. One thing to note just real quick about AMD, we're not going to spend too much time on it because the earnings are here, but this is as well showing reversal signals, and so is SMCI actually. SMCI is showing some 2-hour signals in here that look very interesting. So we have a lot of things in the semiconductors that are showing reversal signals. Usually when they're all showing it at the same time, that's when you can read into it a little bit more, but I would still be cautious around those earnings, okay? We're gonna go check on Meta for a moment here because Meta is just going. It's gone. No, it's way up there on the daily chart. We see that. We know that a daily pullback would be very good for Meta at this point to go back down to 630, but this is the point. What is going to make Meta pull back? What's gonna make Meta have one of these moments right here? What's going to make it have one of these moments right here, right? You need one of those moments soon because if this thing keeps popping off, it has the chance to get a big sell, and then you're going to experience like a 20-30% drop at some point, really, over the night, like over a couple of weeks. Because it's just going up way too fast, and if bad news hits this bad boy, when people see other things that are at lower prices like Nvidia, AMD, even Apple's not at a bad price, right? When they see those things, they're going to go, why the heck am I still in Meta? So I would just watch out for that. And the 2-hour suggesting you need to be pulling back. We're seeing all the divergences pop up. On the 2-hour, you're seeing that, sorry, I'm hiccuping. And then you're seeing that start to confirm on the 30-minute multiple times, really close to the center line. I'm not saying this is like an easy short or anything like that. I'm saying this is really showing like people are trying to sell this thing, but it's just able to squeeze higher, and you have a ton of divergence. When do we pay attention? When something is overall, I think, squeezing. When do we pay attention to the divergence? When it's really close to the center line. So I've really started to watch Meta in here and just go, man, that thing needs a retest of 660 or maybe all the way down to 617. So I would be cautious with Meta, with where it's at right now. Okay, now I'm going to get into AMC for a moment because AMC actually confirmed the thing. Isn't that crazy? AMC actually confirmed the thing. You were able to take back the 5. You were able to confirm this signal, and this is saying that if AMC could get some good news, it most likely will need good news. I don't think people are too excited to just be like, yes, buy AMC for some random reason. I think you're going to need some news with this, but you do have the divergences that have confirmed. So we are back on. I'm back on in the option play for AMC. The daily chart, we're looking for a curl up of that with those signals. If we can experience something crazy, hey, 353. And I think you're relying a little bit on the back of GME because it has such low implied volatility. All you need to break through, you need the daily to cross up to break through 2866 this week. We will be updating this weekend, right, on Sunday so that you can get this level on your chart. It's proven to be very good at catching some sells, right? That's for the most part. But it is good to pay attention to in case you break through. It means you're potentially seeing something crazy. Now, this is interesting to me because this is not like the best looking signal right now. I think that some of these would turn around, but this is not a very good reversal signal at this point. You have lost the divergence point that you attempted to create that bottom. So then you said, no, this is a weak base. Let's like manufacture a strong base by creating this moment where you violate this on the RSI as well, and then you just hold that divergence point in the future a little bit. So I don't think it is the best signal, and I think that the 30-minute looking like this, just overall moving sideways, allows the 5 to catch up for another dip down. Now, if that dip down creates some kind of divergence, yeah, we can see an upside move, but it mainly is, do you hold the 2-hour signal? So I think it's interesting that AMC confirmed it and GME was not able to, and I think AMC is going to rely a little bit on GME to see some buyers step in if you want these short sellers to get squeezed out. Volatility, the VIX, we were looking for that 2-hour to go down, right, to cross down, and it has happened, but it's still positive, right? So this is suggesting that upside might be it at the end of the day, right? Because we haven't seen volatility really stick. So I would be paying attention to that. But where do we go to, right? We were talking about the test of the 5. We were talking about potentially even gap fill, and that could still happen. But another time where 1683 is just saving my butt. It's very, very nice. I'm glad that we went back. We just looked at all these levels. I've looked at these levels for years now. 1683 has been on my chart, and 1504 have been on my chart for years, and 1212 has been there as well. So those are key levels that I like to watch for VIX. Now, if the 2-hour curls back up, we might see a bigger volatility pop, but something we could see here is just a lower high from the 30-minute. Now, if there's a way up and a way down. So if that gets up to here and then we do this, yeah, you got some potential for that to build up over time. But usually technicals like that with the volatility with VIX, it's kind of rough to even suggest those because it's not technically a price. So something we'll watch here is just if the 30-minute crosses up and then just crosses right back down, right? If we cross up and we just cross down right away, we don't make any divergence, well, then we're going to end up in the upward direction. So the only thing I'd be worried about is if like a 2-hour chart starts to curl up, because that's going to be a big problem. The reason it could be a big problem is because the daily is still technically turned up. It saw a big move. It's retesting the 5, so you can see another move higher from volatility pretty soon. We're aware of that, but we're going to watch out for reversal signals. The main takeaway here is this could play out in a lot of ways, and we do have some mixed things going on with certain stocks at these major highs. And weirdly enough, you're kind of one bad semiconductor earnings away from seeing a lot of things start to pull back, and maybe those semiconductors not come back very quickly. So you're in a recipe where things are a little bit mixed. You have to be paying attention and trading like water very closely, and I would say managing your risk. And I'll just tell you what I think is the most likely. I think we are going to make some kind of divergence here. And that's what I think is going to happen in this. I think we're going to end up down at lower levels. We're going to see some kind of 30-minute divergence, and people are going to be very bearish. And then we're going to end up seeing this thing go to all-time highs again. That's my assessment at this point, right? That's just my opinion at this point. I'm not trading around that by any means, but I'm just suggesting that a 30-minute divergence down here would trick people the most. And we could see that actually proven to be some upside later on. So we'll be paying attention. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic. If you want those weekly expected moves, and we're putting out daily expected moves on Thursday night for all the stocks that we cover, so that you can get a daily expected move for Friday. We're going to be putting that out there. Just a quick note, on Friday, I do have my wife's birthday this weekend, so we will have no stream on Friday in the morning. We won't have a Saturday video, but we will be here to give you those updated weekly expected moves on Sunday. So thank you for that. Have a great night, guys, and peace out.